Distinguished executives here gathered, we want to warmly welcome you to the Secretariat of the Association of African Universities. AAU is the voice for higher education in Africa. It serves as the apex continental body that works with various member institutions and various stakeholders to improve the quality of higher education in Africa. This morning, we are gathered here in relation to the ACE at 10 press briefing. ACE refers to the Africa Higher Education Centers of Excellence program, a program that has supported more than 80 centers in over 50 universities across 20 countries in Africa. It is being implemented in West and Central Africa, including Djibouti, with the Association of Africa Universities serving as the regional facilitation unit, and then also in the Eastern and Southern Africa, with the Inter-University Council for East Africa serving as the regional facilitation unit. ACE has been implemented for 10 years, and early next month, from April 7th to 9th, 2025, we are convening together with all stakeholders of the program at the Labadi Beach Hotel. Ahead of that convening, we are organizing this press briefing to mainly create the platform for all of us as press men and women to engage with key project teams, to learn about the project innovative and key impactful interventions, and to learn about how the project has contributed in the transformation of Africa's higher education landscape. The program for the press briefing will be as follows. Would receive official welcome remarks from the Secretary General of the Association of African Universities in the person of Professor Olushola Oyewele, who would be joining us virtually, and then would receive an impactful presentation, a high-level overview of the ACE program at 10, the key milestones chalked by the project, and that will be done by Dr. Sylvia Mkandawiri, who is the Senior Program Manager. Dr. Sylvia, if you can identify yourself. Okay, so that is Dr. Sylvia. And then the Commission, GTEC, plays a key role in advancing Ghana's education development agenda through the ACE program, and therefore would be receiving a presentation to be made by Dr. Edmond Alondon, who is the Deputy Director, Research Policy and Planning Directorate, and who also serves as the national focal point of the ACE program. Dr. Alondon, okay. Under the program, key achievements and key impact stories have been recorded, and we really want you to hear it from the implementers, and therefore we have invited two of the center directors. We have with us in our midst Professor Eric Entry Ofosu, who is the center director for the Regional Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability, RCES, which is hosted by the University of Energy and Natural Resources. Prof? All right, so that is Prof for us. We would also be receiving a presentation and sharing session by Prof. Felix Abagali, who is the Center Director for the West African Center for Water, Irrigation, and Sustainable Agriculture, WACWISA. WACWISA is hosted by the University for Development Studies. Prof, we are happy to have you join us. To also project the program's impact stories, we have invited Dr. Felix Ansa, who is an alumni who have gone through the program. The ACE program has helped train a number of PhDs, a number of master students, and therefore we'll be hearing from an alumni and a student from the program from the University of Ghana, who will be joining us shortly. And then Mrs. Millicent Efriye Ajay, the communications lead for ACE Impact Program, would be telling us the plans as far as the celebration next month is concerned. That is the ACE at 10 celebration, which will be holding in Labadi, as I mentioned earlier. And then we would then have a Q&A session where we would all have the opportunity to engage our distinguished presenters. I would wish that when it gets there, we would invite the media to engage. You raise your hand, you introduce your name and the media institution you represent, and then you ask your question. We will do it 4 rounds. We will take 4 questions at each round and have the opportunity to engage further as the discussion progresses. And then we'll receive closing remarks from the Director of ICT, Communications, and Knowledge Management here at the Association of African Universities, in the person of Madame Nodumod Lamini. Okay. Without further delay, distinguished ladies and gentlemen here gathered, I would like to invite Professor Olushola Oyewole, the Secretary General of the Association of African Universities, who will be connecting online for his welcome remarks. Prof, you are invited to address the press.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kwagweze. Distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to this very important press briefing as we prepare to commemorate a remarkable milestone, the 14th anniversary of the African Higher Education Center of Excellence ACE program. On behalf of the Association of African Universities, AAU, I extend our heartfelt gratitude for your presence and ongoing support in making visible the key impacts of this project in strengthening higher education and research in Africa. The ACE program has been pivotal in transforming higher education institutions across sub-Saharan Africa by strengthening their capacity to deliver quality postgraduate education, research and innovation in priority areas such as STEM, agriculture, environment, health, applied social science, and education. Over the past decade, this program has made significant strides in equipping universities with the tools, skills, and resources required to address the continent's most pressing development challenges. The Association of African Universities has had the privilege of serving as the Regional Facilitation Unit, RFU, for both the first phase of this project, which ran from 2014 to 2018, and the third phase, which is the current phase of this impactful initiative, running from 2018 to 2025. In this role, we have an oversight responsibility and have provided technical support and capacity building interventions to ensure that ACE centers achieve their objectives. Working closely with key stakeholders such as the World Bank, Agency for Development, governments, and universities. The AAU has played a central role in the overall coordination of this project implementation. Our facilitation efforts have included monitoring performance, enhancing visibility for center achievements through our robust communication activities, procurement and safeguard supports, and promoting collaboration among ACE centers to maximize their impact. Additionally, we engage in policy advocacy to promote policy changes that foster a conducive environment for higher education and research in Africa. Today's briefing offers us the opportunity to share the exceptional accomplishments of the ACE program and the impact it has had on over 80 centers in more than 50 universities across 20 countries in the continent who have been participating in the ACE program. Through this ACE initiative, institutions have enhanced their capacity to deliver high-quality academic programs, foster groundbreaking research innovations, and forge vital partnerships that have improved industry linkages and strengthened regional integration in the African continent. Among the program's significant achievements are, and I quote number one, the training of thousands of postgraduate students with skills relevant to achieve Africa's development. Two, groundbreaking research that has informed public health strategies, agricultural solutions and technological innovations. And 3, the successful creation of partnership with industries, ensuring that graduates are equipped with skills that match market demands. Ladies and gentlemen, the Association of African Universities has the voice of higher education in Africa is very proud within our core mandate to support African universities by facilitating knowledge exchange, advocating for policy reforms that enhance the education landscape, and equipping institutions with the tools they need to thrive in a rapidly evolving global environment. Through strategic partnership and initiatives such as the ACE program, the AAU continues to support the capacity strengthening of African universities to enable them to deliver high-quality education, conduct impactful research, and provide innovative solutions to Africa's pressing development challenges. Our commitment to empowering higher education institutions remain unwavering, as we believe that education is fundamental to achieving sustainable growth and development, especially in Africa. The Association of African Universities, as the voice of education in Africa, is very proud to be associated with these successes. And I believe that these successes will be highlighted more in the conference that is coming up. As part of the ACE at 10 celebration, we will host a series of activities aimed at showcasing these achievements while charting a course for future advancement. The commemorative events will include an exhibition, panel discussions, academic dialogues, and networking sessions that will bring together key stakeholders from across the continent and beyond. I urge the media to help us play a pivotal role in amplifying the remarkable stories of impact from our ACE centers. We count on your partnership to highlight how African universities are contributing solutions to some of the continent's most pressing challenges, including health crisis, food security, climate change, and technological advancement. By shedding light on these achievements, you will be helping us to build public and investors' confidence in the capabilities of our institutions and attract further investment in higher education and research, thereby also contributing to national level advancement and development. Should you wish to explore further information on the ACE program and the African higher education landscape, we are available for additional interviews and engagement sessions post this conference briefing session. As we move forward, the AAU remains committed to promoting excellence, fostering collaboration, and advancing Africa's higher education agenda. The ACE program legacy is proof that with strategic investment, innovation, and partnership, African institutions and indeed African universities can drive sustainable development and global competitiveness. I would like to seize this opportunity to call on all our development partners, philanthropic organizations, and stakeholders with an aligned vision of promoting sustainable growth and development in Africa to please come invest in higher education and research in Africa, and you'll be supporting Africa's development. The outcomes of the ACE program have demonstrated that investment in higher education yields remarkable results, as evidenced by the groundbreaking research, enhanced academic programs, and strengthened institutional capacities. This can be seen in all the outcomes of this initiative. When our universities are supported, it means that we are investing in Africa's future workforce. We are also investing in Africa's scientific advancement and economic growth. Once again, I thank each one of you for your presence and look forward to your continued engagement as we mark this significant milestone. Let me apologize that I can only deliver this virtually because of another engagement can make Africa strong. Innovation and excellence in higher education through this ACE program. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Professor Oyewele, the Secretary General of the Association of African Universities. We really appreciate that though you are not physically present, you've still been able to deliver your message to the media. We hope you stay on so that when it gets to the Q&A session, we can engage further as well. Just to check in terms of who we have in this room, can we show by hand the team from Metro TV? Are we here? Okay, thank you very much. We also have the team from the University World News. Okay, thank you very much. Media General is present here as well. Thank you for coming. We also have the Ghana News Agency. Okay. We have GTV. Okay. We have Ghana News Online. Ghana News Online. All right. Daily Graphic is here as well. Thanks for coming. We have Joy News, Joy FM. Okay. We have Majesty TV, African Eye, Mothers TV, The New Independent, Yonkupa FM. Are we all here? Okay, all right. I think I introduced everyone except myself. My name is Dr. Felicia Nkrumah Koagbeji, and I work with the ACE communication team. We have Dr. Felix Ansah here. Is Dr. Felix Ansah? Okay, can you kindly move forward? Dr. Felix Ansah is an alumni for one of the ACE centers located at the University of Ghana, hosted by the University of Ghana. So he would really be sharing his experience in terms of having gone through the program. We are also joined by Mawulawe Anato Dumelo. Okay. Please, can you move forward here as well? Mawulawe is a PhD student at the West African Center for Crop Improvement, WACI, which is hosted by the University of Ghana. We really want to hear your story, so kindly move forward. Thank you so much for joining us today. Next on the item would receive a high-level presentation giving us an overview of the ACE program and ACE Attend milestones. And this will be done by Dr. Sylvia Mkandawiwi, who is the Senior Program Manager for ACE Impact. Dr. Mkandawiwi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kwabeji. My name is Sylvia Nkandawire. I work here at the Association of African Universities as the Senior Program Manager for the African Centers of Excellence program. Professor Oyewele has introduced this program comprehensively. So within the Association of African Universities, we are coordinating over 54 centers of excellence, but we will break them down as we move ahead. So I would like to just capture all our imaginations here. Imagine that we have an Africa. This Africa is resilient, self-reliant, and has capacity to adequately skill its people. And then it's also globally competitive, contributing to global innovations and research. This is the vision that the World Bank and all other partners have had, and that's where the ACE program is premised. The ACE program is a flagship program one of the regional higher education program, the first of its kind in the World Bank scope, and it was launched in 2014. And this program was launched in collaboration with governments for ownership, and these national governments received a loan from the World Bank to implement this vision. The program aims to improve the quality, quantity, and development impact of postgraduate education in selected universities through regional specialization and collaboration. And specifically, the project is enhancing capacity to deliver high-quality training to address the development challenges, enhance capacity to deliver applied research for regional challenge, and also build and use industry sector partnerships to enhance impact of the centers to increase relevance and within their education and research mandate. And finally, the project is also building and strengthening regional and international academic partnerships to raise quality of education in other institutions in the region. So this program was launched in 2014. This was the first series or the first phase of the project. Fortunately, AAU was the first regional facilitating unit, and this is also why the project, the celebrations are hosted here in Ghana, because we started in 2014, and by this year, we are 10 years. So all partners are coming to Ghana with that reason, for that purpose. And then in 2014 to 2020, we had 22 centers. Then because of the successes of the 22 centers that we've had for that 5-year period, the World Bank and participating governments felt like they needed to increase the scope because now the demand became so high. So in 2016 to 2023, the second phase was launched and has been implemented, and it was implemented in the Southern and East Africa. And in that space, they had close to also 22 centers. And consolidating all the phases, lessons were learned, and a lot of changes and also gaps were identified, and those that led to the third phase, which was implemented in 2019 to 2025 today. By June, we'll be closing the third phase. And throughout these phases, there were issues that were identified to strengthen. The notable ones were improvements in women enrollment. So there were deliberate efforts throughout the years to make sure that we had more women enrolled in these programs. And also, many partners started to get excited with the outcomes, and we had to get a lot of partners to join. So there's been a lot of partnership collaboration across the years. And finally, the issues of benchmarking, to benchmark all these institutions to be relevant and competitive, they were also implemented from second phase up to date. Now our programs are globally competitive, and they are also internationally accredited with all those efforts. So over the 10 years, 729 million US dollars were invested, and the beneficiaries for these programs have been the students who have enrolled in programs introduced by universities, getting the skills from the international accredited programs that the host universities have been implementing. The second group of beneficiaries have been the faculty and students. Some of the faculty are here, and the center leaders will be talking more about the achievements from their faculty perspectives. And these are the faculties that have also benefited from professional short courses and other refresher courses to remain competitive within the teaching industry. And thirdly, the beneficiaries are, we also have employers. We have employers who have been looking for skilled graduates to support key skill gaps in certain specific challenges. And these employers have also benefited by employing some of our graduates who have been skilled in host institutions. And finally, the general population, we are also benefiting from these programs. We are benefiting from the students, the research they are carrying out. We had COVID, and some of our staff at WorkBIP, WorkMIC, and others, they were able to do some research which benefited the whole population of Ghana in terms of evidence policy-based decisions that the government of Ghana undertook. And this program follows a result-based financing model. What it means is that we needed to tighten in terms of monitoring and evaluation, making sure that the results are quality and standard and acceptable by all, and also making sure that the bank is investing and the results are visible. So this is the project approach that we have implemented over the years. So just to go and highlight again on the key achievements, Prof. Oyewole pointed out to some, but I will try as much as possible to give some statistics so that we all appreciate the effort that the 10 years of implementation of ACE has yielded. So for a decade, the ACE program has been a game changer in strengthening this higher education, empowering institutions, and part of our statistics are showing that within the capacity building and regionalization efforts, we have more than 27,000 regional students that have been trained. That's fostering cross-border knowledge and exchange. And also we have more than 30,000 female students enrolled in graduate programs, advancing the gender inclusion in STEM and other fields. We also have over 8,000 PhD students trained, contributing to the pool of scientists that are generating knowledge to produce solutions for the African challenges. Over 30,000 master's students have also been trained, and several other centers have received institutional accreditation to improve their global recognition in higher education. And within the scope of strengthening the higher education of these institutions, over 80 centers were established and in 50 universities across 20 African countries. We have enhanced institutional governance, curriculum development, and research infrastructure. At the moment, if you go to any of the ACE host institutions, we have state-of-the-art facilities, laboratories that are ISO certified, and they are serving the region in terms of research. And we've also equipped most of these institutions with smart computers, smart teaching classrooms, moving along with the digital era demands. In terms of cutting-edge research, we have over 10,000 publications that have been peer-reviewed. And here we have representatives from the WAKI Center. They have developed with other centers like CDA that's in Nigeria. We also have a center in East Africa, MASI. These are all centers in agriculture. They've developed in total over 180 improved crop varieties for food security for the region. Centers have conducted groundbreaking genetic research on diseases such as malaria, Ebola, COVID, among others. They've also created innovative solutions for solar-powered vaccine storage. That's a challenge. It's been a challenge here in Africa, but you find we are making some strides there, and we hope in the near future we'll have more countries joining Burkina and Senegal in that scope. We've also strengthened industry partnership and research commercialization. To date, we have over 200 patents from research activities, research outputs within the 80 centers. And we've also managed to raise additional finances what next after is the centers, they need to be very sustainable. So over 190 million US dollars have been externally mobilized by the centers to continue with their activities of research and innovation, even beyond the World Bank funding. Within the digital transformation and policy strengthening, we have also piloted innovative initiatives like centers of digital competencies, where centers were supported to buy equipment that can aid their distance learning, online learning, and this was an effort that yielded from the COVID pandemic as centers were restricted in terms of teaching. So we innovated, and I'm sure Professor Eric from Sunyani will be highlighting more on that effort. There are policies that never existed in some universities, or they were not strengthened, but with the project effort, a number of policies have been developed and are being implemented, such as sexual harassment policies, grievance reporting for stakeholders, to ensure that we are complying, institutions and universities are complying, hence providing safe learning environment. And also looking at the results from the graduate tracer study that we carried out. Over the 10-year period, the graduates have been, they have acquired the right skills according to their testimonies, and over 70% of the graduates from the report we did in 2024 were employable within a period of 0 to 8 months, meaning that most of the graduates under us are employable, they are acquiring the right skills. So to this end, I would like to just say, as you can relate from the statistics, this has been a transformative model for the higher education, and it has contributed a lot in terms of fostering regional integration, providing homegrown solutions that I just highlighted some, but students and also my professors who are here, they'll give us more details in those research solutions. Thank you very much, and I end here.
Thank you very much, Senior Program Manager, Dr. Sylvia Nkandawiri. It's indeed been a decade of impact, innovation, and excellence, as we have learned from her presentation. Thank you for explaining, and highlighting some of these key impact and successes chalked by the project over the 10-year duration. Next on our program, we'll be receiving a presentation from GTEC. GTEC is Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, and they've been engaged in this project. The government of Ghana has been engaged in this project since its very inception in 2014. We'll be receiving a presentation on GTEC's role in advancing Ghana's education development agenda through the ACE program. To do this is Dr. Edmond Alondon, who is the Deputy Director, Research, Policy and Planning Directorate, and he's also the national focal point for the World Bank Africa Center of Excellence project, ACE Impact. Dr. Alondon, kindly address the media. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Felicia, and good morning to you all. So I think a lot has already been said about the project and what it stands for. And so I'll go straight to the point in talking about the role of GTEC. And as has already been said, the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission is a regulatory body that oversees the functions, the accreditation functions, quality assurance functions of all tertiary institutions in Ghana. And in playing that role, we have extended it to the various 9 centers that we have in Ghana. As far as accreditation issues are concerned, we have extended a significant part of our activities towards regulating issues of accreditation and quality assurance in the various tertiary institutions, and also to the various centers that we are currently running. And the whole idea is to ensure that we have global competitiveness. You know that this is an international project, this is a global project, and obviously once it's a global project, we expect that there will be some level of standardization, particularly when it comes to issues of accreditation, when it comes to issues of quality assurance. And so the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, through the National Facilitation Unit, has not compromised on issues of quality assurance and accreditation when it comes to the role that we perform with the various centers of excellence. One of the other key issues that I think I also need to emphasize is trying to ensure that we provide an oversight in terms of policy alignment. It's important to indicate that these centers do not operate in silos. They operate within the context of our various tertiary institutions. And so it is important to ensure that whatever programs that they are coming out with, those programs are in line with national policy framework. And this means that if you want to establish a program or if you want to run a program, it must be in line with national development policy framework informed by the education strategic plan. And so you can, carry out activities that would essentially be aimed at demand-driven employability skills, which would be targeted at the graduates that will be churned out. And so we are very, very, we take that very seriously, and we think that programs need to be demand-driven. We think that the programs need to meet student standards. We think that the programs need to meet international standards, and so we also take that very seriously. Another key thing that we look at as far as our facilitation role is concerned has to do with facilitating funding and institutional support. Of course, we do this in collaboration with the World Bank and the various partners that we work with. And as has already been indicated by Dr. Sylvia, this is a loan from the government of Ghana. And once it's a loan, we would pay back. But then it's a grant to our various centers, which means that we have to ensure we put in place the necessary fiduciary strategies to ensure that centers utilize the funds based on what they took it for. We don't want to hear situations where the funds will be taken for other purposes. And so we play that oversight response in ensuring that the centers of excellence, are guided with the utilization of the funds that they get or the grants that they have received from the Bank of Ghana. Another key thing that we also take very seriously is the issue of strengthening research and innovation. And I think that that cannot be overemphasized. The project manager has already indicated that we've seen significant levels of research outputs, and we are very excited about that because, of course, like she indicated, during the period of COVID, we all saw the work that was done by WACBIB, and it is something that we are very excited about. It's something that we continue to push all the centers to continue to work towards. And of course, these centers of excellence are supposed to serve as points of conduit so that other departments, other faculties can, work with, so that they can also expand and, eventually set up centers of excellence. And so that is something that we take very seriously. Research output is key. And we are not just talking about research output. We are also interested in innovative research that would be impactful, research that would solve real societal problems. And that is why one of the key issues that we take seriously is the policy, oversight policy alignment. We make sure that programs that are being churned out or that are being run by these centers have a certain policy approval that aligns with national development policy framework. And so we are very interested in ensuring that such measures take place in terms of how we ensure that the programs that are run have some level of policy alignments and regulatory oversight by so doing. Another key thing that I want to emphasize on as far as the National Facilitation Unit is concerned is capacity building. Now, you would agree with me that this is a project that has, in the last 10 years, been innovative. And so, obviously, it is not your usual kind of a project that we are all used to, as the project manager talked about. It's results-based financing. This means that you perform and then you are given the money for your performance. That is an innovation that I'm sure most institutions may not be used to. And so there is a need for capacity building, and over the last 10 years, that is what the GTEC has done. Through the National Facilitation Unit, we've provided capacity building for faculty members, we've provided capacity building for the researchers, we've provided capacity building for even the administrators to bring them up to speed with regards to how they can effectively provide some level of administrative and governance oversight in these centers, so we can get the appropriate results that we are looking for in the various centers. Another key activity that we don't take lightly is monitoring. You know that the grant, as has been indicated by Dr. Sylvia, is quite a lot of money. And so we, as the National Facilitation Unit, must make sure that we monitor and ensure that centers, as I indicated earlier, are using the money for the purposes of what they are supposed to use them for. And then another interesting but key issue that we thought you should know in terms of how the National Facilitation Unit has worked with the various centers has to do with issues of, enhancing capacity building and institutional strengthening, as I indicated. The emphasis is to enhance institutional governance, leadership, and sustainability, and then encouraging knowledge exchange and best practices among the ACE institutions in Ghana and across the country and across the African continent. As far as impact of the ACE program is concerned in Ghana, what I can summarily say is that it has improved higher education quality, enhanced STEM, education and research capacity in Ghanaian universities, and that is a fact. The data that we have in the last 10 years proves to that point. And so for those of you who will be interested, you can contact our office and we'll show you. And then on issues of, it has also brought about an increase international recognition among our institutions. Now, one of the key things about this project is that, as the project manager indicated, you must be bringing in international students, and that also gives the university a certain, international profiling, and that has also projected the institutions that we have in this country. I mean, if you go to, and I believe some of the center leaders will be alluding to that, you go to their various campuses, you find students from all over Africa, and that for us is a remarkable achievement. Then, of course, industry-ready graduates, as has been indicated by the project manager, and of course, strengthening regional collaboration among the institutions. This has built a very strong network partnerships between our institutions and research institutions, and we think that this is something worth celebrating, and we are inviting all of you. Hopefully, we are hoping to see all of you at the 10th anniversary. What I must conclude in my presentation here is that through its engagement, that is through the National Facilitation Unit's engagement and through GTEC's engagement, the ACE program continues to shape Ghana's tertiary education landscape to be a more, and we hope that it will be a more innovative, it will bring about some more innovation, research-oriented and globally competitive activities within the research space, and would also like to indicate that the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission will continue to support the various universities that are involved in this project, particularly the institutions that may be interested in undertaking similar programs and projects of this nature. Our doors are always open, and we hope to see you, and hope that we will all be participating in the 10th anniversary. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Edmond Alondon, for explaining the important. And to do that, we would like to invite Professor Eric Intwi Ofosu, who is the Center Director for the Regional Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability, RCES, which is hosted by the University of Energy and Natural Resources. He will be telling us about the key achievement and impact stories from the angle of the ACE centers. Prof, you have 10 minutes for your submissions. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, press. So, my name is Reverend Professor Engineer Eric Ofosu Intwi. I'm the Director for the Regional Center for Energy and Environmental Sustainability. Before I go into the achievements at our center, I want to break down the objectives of the ACE so that our media can really sell the story very well. You see, when China decided to develop, China decided to invest more in human capacity over a certain period of years. And after achieving that human capacity, they went into innovations. And it has really advanced the country. Now, Africa wants to advance. But then, before the ACE, the statistics on postgraduate education in Africa was very, very low and inadequate. What they observed was that most of our postgraduate education, those who acquired it in the Western world, and it was expensive to train one there. For example, myself, I was trained at a cost of $120,000 in the Netherlands. But the ACE is able to train another PhD student here at $25,000. And then the other side was that majority of our people that went out there to be trained never returned. So then the ratio of our postgraduate education holders compared to the population of Africa was really low. So in order to turn the story, this is what the ACE wanted to achieve. Let's increase the numbers in Africa. Those monies that we give to our brothers to go and train them, we can use it to train about 4 or 5 people down here. And then when they are educated here, they will stay. Okay? And then we can increase the numbers. And the ACE has really achieved this. So for me, I'll say that the ACE is a game changer for postgraduate education across Africa. And it is one of the best things that ever happened to the African continent. And thanks to our governments and thanks to the World Bank for supporting this. At RCES, our vision is to be the leading internationally accredited center of excellence that provides quality education in energy and environmental sustainability. When we wrote the proposal for the ACE, we targeted 50 PhD students and 150 master students at the end of the 5 years. But currently, we have admitted 114 PhD students and 216 master students, totaling 330 students who have gone through our education with scholarship. We believe that it's been very remarkable. On the side of short courses for industry, so that we can bring them up to speed to the innovation and the things that are happening in the current knowledge, our target was to train about 250 industry partners, but we have been able to train 456 of them. Out of these, over 25% of them are females, and about 20% of them come from 20 African regions, African countries within the region. And it has been very, very impactful for us. It has helped our university to be able to bring on board a lot of foreign students that we never had. So we are very, very happy with that. We have also been able to train a lot of people on a number of short courses, like solar pump irrigation systems, energy audits, energy management and certification, solar PV design and installation, and then also occupational health and safety. And what the knowledge they have acquired is all over the place. Our alumni are doing very, very well in the energy space across. Now, one other thing that really affected postgraduate education was research funding. We could not do impactful research because it is expensive. But the ACE has been able to provide us the opportunity to be able to advance in our research capacities. At the University of Energy and Natural Resources, prior to the ACE, our research output at the whole university was about 57 publications per year. But the ACE, when it came on board, helped us to be able to sign the university onto Science Direct, onto Scopus, onto Research Africa, onto Turnitin. And at the moment, our research output is over 400 publications per year. So this has advanced the rankings of UNAIR very much on the global scale and even at the national level. And at our center alone, over a period of 5 years, we have turned out over 300 publications at the center, which is very, very positive for us. One other thing that the ACE sought to do was that we need to build centers of excellence and let these centers of excellence become a catalyst for transforming higher education in Africa. So therefore, we must ensure that the programs that are run at these centers of excellence are internationally accredited. So we had to go through international accreditation for our programs and also for the university. And for you to take your university through international accreditation, you need to meet certain international benchmarks. And this caused us to change a lot of the policies within the university. And thankfully, last year, we got the international accreditation. And so, therefore, our students have the seal of international accreditation on their certificates. And what it means, therefore, is that our students are as marketable as students from other international universities who are in that same category. And so when you come to our universities and our centers, we can market you as students from Leeds, from Imperial College, and the rest, because the standards that they meet, we also meet them. And this is being used as a catalyst to transform our universities within Africa, which is very, very positive. The modern infrastructure development has been mentioned. And I mean, if you come to UNAIR at the moment, almost all the activities of the university are hosted within the center. Last year alone, we hosted over 250 programs of the university. And this is very, very impactful to the advancement of UNAIR. In terms of projects and innovations, aside the Center of Excellence, the ACE funding that has been provided for us to run for these 5 years, the center leadership and the center management and the staff have been able to come together with partners to be able to win about 17 new projects, which put together gives us in excess of $7 million, which we are also using to do a lot of things in the area of climate change, renewable energy technologies, energy efficiency, water, energy, food nexus, and capacity building in renewable energy as well. One of the notable things we have done for this country is the advancement of solar pump irrigation systems. You see, climate change is affecting agriculture, and our farmers need access to constant supply of water. And to be able to pump water, you need energy. And this energy is also expensive. But there's a cheaper form of energy God has given to us in the form of solar. So if you can be able to advance solar in agricultural practice, our farmers will have access to water and be able to provide food all year round. So one of the projects we had was to be able to create the enabling environment to be able to advance agricultural technology and solar pump irrigation in the country. And we put together a policy working group, an interministerial policy working group that has been able to set the enabling environment. And then on top of that, we have developed a $25 million investment plan for the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority to be able to get this fund and advance irrigation in Ghana. The same thing is being done for Community Water and Sanitation Agency so that we can improve potable water supply at a lower cost for communities across the country. In terms of innovations, the center also looked at the aspect of energy in transportation. We realized that because of climate change, the world is now focused on clean energy access. One of the highest contributors to climate change is the use of fossil fuels for transportation. So we had a program with the Bochum University in Germany where we converted our motorbikes, which use petrol, into e-vehicles so that now they have batteries and then they can be able to run on the batteries. So we had a demonstration of that on campus. And now one of our students have been able to take it to the next level. He's now converting Pragya from using fossil fuels to batteries. He's converting motorbikes. He's converting the Aboboya. And now he's even adding e-vehicles to bicycles so that you don't even ride them manually anymore. And so the center has decided that starting next year, we'll put together a skills development program so that we can be able to have what we call a maker space and train Ghanaian youth to be able to venture into this. It will be good business for the youth. It will also reduce the cost of transportation, and it will be sustainable for the environment as well. And so this is one of the major impacts that we're making with this particular ACE program. Finally, let me add that the ACE Impact program is also seriously impacting academic leadership across Africa. In Ghana, we have the ACE Impact program in 5 universities. When it started in 2014, it didn't take long for the director of the ACE at Kia University to become the Pro-VC. Then also, our brother here at UDS, when he became ACE leader, moved to become Pro-VC at UDS. The same thing is happening at Legon, Professor Wandari. And then when you go to Cape Coast also, the ACE leader is now the Pro-VC. Now, the ACE has taught us to be transformational leaders. And once we see these ACE leaders rising up to take up university leadership, it is very positive for Africa. Because if you look at what they have turned us to be, we are innovators, we are serious academic researchers, and also we have network. So therefore, the future is very bright with this kind of support that the ACE is providing. And I foresee the next leadership of African higher education coming from this crop of leaders that the ACE is provided. And so the future is very positive and very bright. And we encourage the media to sell our story. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Next to address the media is Professor Felix Abagali, and Prof is the Center Director for the West African Center for Water, Irrigation and Sustainable Agriculture, WACWISA for short, and WACWISA is hosted by the University for Development Studies.
Thank you so much, Felicia. Good morning to everyone. As the protocol has been established with the Secretary General, the Senior Program Manager, my boss here, the Director of Policy, and my colleague, Director at the RCs. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I have to say good morning. Let me start on this note, because for media work, it's sometimes difficult. You know, my colleague referred to me rising to become a Pro-Vice Chancellor, but now I am not the Pro-Vice Chancellor. If sometimes you don't take time, it will be reported that I presented myself as a Pro-Vice Chancellor, but I have since, I served 4 years, I've since handed over. So that is it. My name is Felix Abagali from the University for Development Studies and the Director of the West African Center for Water, Irrigation and Sustainable Agriculture. At this point, it's interesting, when my colleague had to talk before me, I was asking myself, what am I coming to add? Because we are doing about the same thing. And then he's presented the statistics. So I was just wondering as to where I'm going to start and where I'll end. But I must say that the project started, as been indicated variously, as a program to support African governments so that they can uplift the status of higher education, especially postgraduate education, and putting on more skills through capacity building for people in industry. And as indicated, training in Africa used not to be recognized at the higher level before. But this program, which started in 2014, has actually been able to transform the landscape of education in our other African countries. And the investment levels in our centers was actually approximately about $6.4 million each to the various centers. And as indicated, we had to work to get it. It wasn't handed over. And I must also indicate that presently, I thought my boss would have said it, I think all Ghanaian centers have since been able to achieve about, the minimum is about 97% in terms of performance in the results that we were supposed to achieve. And I think that at 97 as the minimum, I think by the end of June, when we are closing, we should say that almost all the centers which are left with the rest of the 3% would have actually been able to achieve that. With the support of this program, we at our center, which we focus on irrigation and then agriculture, with water being the driving force. Hitherto, it wasn't known as a very important pillar in the agricultural landscape. But when we launched the training program, that is in irrigation and drainage engineering, we had subscriptions from over 20 African countries with students coming from all sectors of the various economies. And we had students from as far as Sudan and then as near as Togo. And we were able to build their capacities at the master's and the PhD level. And we have so far trained over 200 students for both master's and PhD. We also ran a program in environmental management and sustainability. And we also had students traveling from these countries to join us. We have so far trained about 900 individuals in terms of short courses to build people who are already practicing their capacity so that they can enhance their productivity. And so far, we have been able to do that in actually over 20 countries again, because we always train from across the African area. For the quality of research, I think that this project has been transformative in terms of the fact that research was very low in terms of the availability of the necessary infrastructure and the capacity to actually undertake the needed research. And I would say that in all centers in Ghana, and I can actually speak for all the project centers, it has made research very visible in all sectors of intervention of this ACE project. And now, information in terms of the various sectors that all of us are working in has been exposed to the world, and people are actually picking up this information and investing in either innovative areas or to build that into entrepreneurship models. At our place, we have been able to build a state-of-the-art infrastructure in terms of laboratory work, and we have also been able to produce individuals who can man this equipment, which were not really known to our side of the world. And now we can say that whatever results we produce in terms of research, they are recognized globally. And this infrastructure is very important and has been able to take off that aspect of government burden, which was always a problem in terms of delivering tertiary education in our country. In terms of this research transforming into visibility of the institutions, I must say that before then, you realize the rankings in the world in terms of education, even Ghana institutions were not ranked. And since we joined and we started submission, I can say for my institution, the University for Development Studies, that in 2023, we were 4th in Ghana and 44th in Sub-Saharan Africa. As of last year, we moved up to be 3rd in Ghana, and now we are 35th in Sub-Saharan Africa, out of 129 institutions, universities. We have also been able to bring up very innovative research works, and I want to tell you that we have developed software tools which are being used by various players in the industry, especially our key players who are the farmers. We have softwares which are able to allow them to predict weather, to say that for this year, and everybody agrees that the weather pattern has not been very stable. They are able to use certain local features which tells them that it is better to go into planting or cultivation at this point in time. We have also been able, our students actually have developed models that you can actually sit here and then open water on your farm, wherever your farm is located, through the internet. We have also been able to at least improve the shea butter that is produced locally by 40% in terms of quantity through innovative research. And the quality of this shea butter, what is normally referred to as free fatty acids, we have been able to increase that quality by about 30% in concentration. Ladies and gentlemen, my colleague talked about international accreditation, which actually has made our study programs now to be internationally recognized, and our institutions too have been internationally accredited, so they can be ranked apart with any other institution across the world. So it is no more, let me say, something that we see as being fashionable to be thinking of seeking education in a particular area elsewhere when it is close by our doorstep. The need for investment in education, especially targeted at growing our economy, is therefore very important in building our curricula and also improving infrastructure across the various institutions in the country. And as you may know, this cannot be done by government alone, and partnerships are very important. And the project allowed us to play a very important role in terms of the implementation in establishing strong partnerships with industry, which has allowed industry to play a part in investing in whatever we do and also taking part in delivery of curricula. Because whatever happens in the practice world is sometimes very much different from that of the classroom. So therefore, it was very important to actually bridge the gap by bringing practice to the classroom. I must say that we didn't do this without challenges. And when we started in 2019, it was no time, then COVID came. And then we had to innovate as to how to survive in the implementation process. So COVID was one of our setbacks in the implementation of the project. And then thereafter, the economic hardships in the country worsened. And when they got worsened, the currency we received, our funding, that is in terms of dollar, when it is converted to the cedi, and we even supported students in terms of stipend, it was not very possible for them to actually make a very good living to support themselves. So that economic hardship thereafter was a very big problem. I must say, before I say that, the sustainability of what we are doing is very important. And this has to be hinged on partnerships. So we have to the various centers are calling on the various stakeholders, as the Secretary General said, international bodies, local, industry, people who are players in the various areas to actually partner the centers of excellence in delivering what is very much required for the growing of our economy. And I must say that, like my colleague, Professor Entry said, when we were implementing, we partnered in various programs, like the solar systems he was talking about for irrigation, were partners in delivering. And that is very important in actually not allowing packets of events to be taking place in our country. So that is very important. And I must say that government has launched Irrigation for Wealth, which I think you, the media, played a very important role in broadcasting. So if irrigation is for wealth, and we started irrigation as seeing it as a key player in driving the economy of Ghana, we think that at this point, we are key players that government should roll us up so that we can play a pivotal role in delivering that very important mandate of the government. Before I sit, I would like to say that very soon, I think I have reliable information that the National Research Fund will be rolled out. The Ghana Education Trust Fund came some years ago, and it supported tertiary education. For our sustenance and our key role in this, the National Research Fund should look at the centers of excellence and see how funding can be made available to support the continued existence and also the conduct of cutting-edge research so that we can continue to deliver the goods that are very much necessary for our country. Thank you so much for coming. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much, Professor Felix Tabagali, for your delivery. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know, the Africa Higher Education Centers of Excellence program has trained thousands of students. And today we are very proud to have one of such alumni in the person of Dr. Felix Ansah, who is a Deltas postdoc for the West Africa Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, WACBIP, which is hosted by the University of Ghana, to join us and to briefly share his experiences under the program with us. Doc, you have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. So I joined the program at WACBIP in 2016 as a master's student. And after my first year, I had the opportunity to upgrade into the PhD program, which I did and graduated 2 years ago. Before I started the program, I had a particular interest, a keen interest in molecular diagnosis, which we now know of. Example is the PCR. So during the COVID, we all heard of PCR. So during my studentship too, I had several opportunities to attend national conferences, visit some labs outside to learn a lot of things. One of the things that I've been working on is developing PCR assays to make it much more available and also cost-effective. So one thing we learned during the COVID-19 was that most of the countries in Africa were not able to have access to these test kits. And this didn't even happen only in Africa. Even in the developed world, they had similar challenges that the test kits that we were providing wasn't enough. So what happened was that we had to, or the most African countries, we needed to import these test kits from Africa. So my research interest has focused on developing these test kits, making them available in our continent. So one of the things I want to highlight was during the COVID-19, one of the tests that we developed was what we used to screen the samples, COVID-19 samples at our center at WACBIP. So, okay. All right, so I just want to highlight some of the things that I did. So my research interest has focused on the COVID, developing test kits for testing for infectious diseases. I wanted to ask here about whether there will be question time, so maybe I'll wait when there's question time and I can highlight some of the things that I did. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. We also have a current PhD student in the person of Madam Mawulawe Anatodumelo. She's a PhD student at the West Africa Center for Crop Improvement, WACI, hosted by the University of Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Maulawe. So, how do I put it? 2019, I had a 1-year-old son, and I was at a point in my work that required that I had to upgrade or be better because I had a master's from the University of Ghana. I was not growing any younger either. If you realize now, a lot of the scholarships have age limits, so you have between 18 to 35. And I'm a woman. Even though they encourage women to apply, after the age of 35, your chances are limited. I also have a young child, so my options are further limited. Because the point is, if I leave the country, I'm going to live with my son, most likely. But when I get there, we all know, or if you don't know, the challenges of taking care of a child on your own, when you don't have a certain support system outside, is quite difficult for you. And so, though there were a lot of pressures to look for a school outside, I said no, I would stay behind. Then I found out I was pregnant. So I'm pregnant and I have a son. I applied to the West Africa Center for Crop Improvement to study for my PhD. And I got into the program as a pregnant woman. Then COVID struck. So the challenges were a lot. But what I had fortunate was the fact that I was in my home country, which meant I had the support system I needed to be able to complete my PhD work or to successfully go through the PhD journey. Studying at the West Africa Center for Crop Improvement provided the safe space for me as a woman to be able to balance my work, my career, and to also be a mother to my children. I'm in my final year right now. I have successfully submitted my thesis. My work was on developing resilient maize varieties for the sub-region, also looking at the continent, because we all know the conversations we are having about climate change. So I looked at drought and low soil nitrogen. As you are aware, most of our soils in Ghana have poor nitrogen levels or very low nitrogen levels. So I was looking at developing maize hybrids or maize varieties that are able to utilize the minimal levels of nitrogen in our soils and still give us maximum yield, focusing mainly on smallholder farmers. My experience at WACI has been great. I must say that without the support of ACE, WACI wouldn't have been established. When I was doing my master's, as I looked around me, I really didn't see a lot of women in plant breeding. In my master's class, we were just 2 women in that class and many men. As you go up the ladder, you see that women start to fall off because of the demands of life, being a woman, being a mother, being a wife. I think all of us already identify with all these challenges, but to have a center of excellence in your home that gives you quality training, that gives you the kind of training that you need to be able to have conversations with your contemporaries outside, it's a gift. And I'm really grateful for that. So thank you. I've been impacted. In a couple of years, if I come again, I'll be a doctor, probably also still working at WACI and impacting lives, mentoring other young women, and also developing maize varieties that are resilient to our sub-region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We are always excited to see women shattering the glass ceiling. We can't wait to address you as Dr. Maulawe Anato Dumelo. Next on the program, would like to invite Mrs. Millicent Afriya J. She is the communications lead for the ACE Impact project here at the AAU, and she will be walking us through the ACE at 10 celebration plans and activities that are lined up.
Thank you, Dr. Nkrumah. So, standing on all existing protocols, I'll be sharing with you some of the activities for our upcoming ACE at 10 Mega Ultimate Celebration. It will be held from the 7th to the 9th of April at the Labadi Beach Hotel. And it's a high-level event, and we are hoping you will all be there. So I'll just be sharing with you an overview of some of the activities that we have planned. But before that, maybe I should give you a brief background to the ACE at 10 celebrations. It was launched on the 31st of October 2023 in Abidjan during our 10th ACE Impacts Biannual Regional Workshop, where we had the Minister of Higher Education, as well as the World Bank Country Director for Côte d'Ivoire, unveiling the ACE at 10 signage. I'm sure most of you saw it at the reception on your way here, yes. So that was what we unveiled to introduce or sort of initiate the celebrations. And as you may be aware, the Centers of Excellence program commenced in 2014, making 2024, which is last year, 10 years. I'm sure you all be wondering why we are celebrating it now. We've been building the momentum right from last year, and the project will be closing this year in June for the third phase. From Dr. Sylvia's presentation, I'm sure we all got to know that the project is in 3 phases. The first and the third phase managed by the AAU, and the second phase managed by the Inter-University Council of East Africa. So the third phase will be ending in June, the program in June this year. And we thought what best time to celebrate the ACE at 10 in connection with the project closure. But however, like I said, we've been building the momentum. We've had several centers from last year celebrating their 10th anniversary. We've had the West Africa Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens at the University of Ghana celebrated their 10th anniversary last year. We've also had centers like the Africa Center of Excellence for Genomics of Infectious Pathogens and Diseases in Redeemers University in Nigeria, also celebrating last year. And then also we had CIASMEA, is a center in mathematics and then informatics in Benin, University of Abomi Calavi to be precise, also celebrating, as well as one of our centers in poultry sciences in Togo, also celebrating. So we've had a number of our centers celebrating, building the momentum from last year. GTech also last year, that's the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, of which Mr. Alandon is the Director for Policy and Planning, also celebrated. And these events have paved the way and then chart the roadmap for this mega ACE at 10 celebration. We will all be present, I'm sure, at Labadi from the 7th to the 9th of April. So here are some of the activities lined up. The ACE at 10 Climate Celebration is a high-level event co-organized by the Association of African Universities and the Inter-University Council for East Africa in Uganda, in close collaboration with the World Bank, because this is a World Bank program, as well as funding from the Agence Française Développement, that's the French Development Agency, AFD. And this prestigious event would feature personalities, dignitaries. We have the Vice President of Ghana honoring as our special guest of honor. So she will be there to officially open the ceremony on Monday, the 7th of April, at the Omanya Hall at the Labadi Beach Hotel. And then also we have ministers of finance and ministers of higher education from our 20 participating countries. So we have ministers of finance and ministers of higher education from the Gambia, from here in Ghana, Ghana being the host. We have from Guinea, we have from Djibouti, we would have from Uganda, across all our participating centers in West Africa, Central Africa, Eastern, and then Southern Africa. And of course, our Secretary General of the Association of African Universities will be there. We will have the Executive Secretary from the Inter-University Council for East Africa also representing. We are also expecting the Vice President for the region from the World Bank to also participate alongside key directors and key managers from the World Bank. So like I said, I wasn't lying, it's a very high-level event. And apart from these dignitaries, we are expecting over 500 higher education stakeholders, private sector partners, subject matter experts, and development partners across the globe. They are all convening at the Labadi Beach Hotel from 7th to 9th. I keep mentioning the date because I want it to stick. I don't want you to forget. And then the ACE at 10 celebration, yes, is one of the biggest higher education events to have ever been hosted here in Ghana. So for the particular sessions, the opening ceremony would be on the 7th of April, Monday, 7th of April, 2025. We will host the opening ceremony where the Vice President of Ghana will officially open. The Vice President of the World Bank will be there. And then for the second day, we are going to have inspiring stories from young entrepreneurs who have successfully transformed their research into lucrative enterprises. We are also going to have a session featuring women in STEM, sharing their journeys on how they overcome stereotypes, and then also breaking barriers to drive change, like our soon-to-be doctor here is doing. And then also thematic breakout sessions focusing on key areas such as innovation, industry collaboration, and capacity building. And for the third day, which is the final day, we are going to have the closing ceremony. And there will be an insightful session on industry perspective, on research and innovation, where industry leaders will discuss how Africa's ability to compete in the global knowledge economy hinges on developing a highly skilled workforce. And then also we would receive some feedback on the various thematic areas I had indicated earlier: agric, health, industry, energy, and all that. And the closing ceremony would also be led by the Honorable Minister for Education, Haruna Idrusu, alongside our distinguished guests. And then the celebration will conclude with a commitment from stakeholders to sustain and expand the ACE model. I'm sure today we've heard so much about the the ACE program and the ACE model, that is a finance-based model. And we've had some of the countries replicating that model for projects in their countries. So I think this high-level event will sort of expand that conversation, will sort of expand how countries can replicate the ACE model to advance higher education, to advance research and innovation. So this promises to be a power-packed and memorable event, and would like to take this opportunity to invite you to cover, particularly for the opening ceremony and the closing ceremony. But then we'll be happy to have you throughout all the 3 days. And then to also amplify some of the remarkable achievement that has come out of the centers. I'm sure we have heard from the center leaders, we have heard from the students, and I am very certain you are going to have very insightful stories to share. So as you leave here today, we trust that you will help us spread the inspiring story of the ACE program, what we have achieved over the past decade, and making this anniversary celebration truly significant, impactful, and memorable. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ajay, for spelling out the details in terms of what would happen between April 7th to 9th at the Labadi Beach Hotel. Now to the moment we've all been waiting for, where we can actually ask our questions and engage our presenters in terms of further areas that maybe are not so clear or we want further clarification on. It's the Q&A session time, and I would like us to raise our hands for those of us who have questions. We would first take maybe about 5 questions and come back for another round if there are more. There's a microphone that will be brought to you. Kindly raise your hand, and then you introduce yourself. You mention your name and identify the media institution that you are representing. Let's try to be brief since we are running behind schedule. Okay, can we show by hands those of us who have questions to ask? Okay, I see one hand up. Can we have more? Because I want us to take a round of maybe about 5 questions before we move on. I see another one. Any more? I see 3 hands. Okay, so we'll start off with the first 3 and then we'll come back for another round.
Thank you so much. I'm Kingsley Duseramachi from Media General. I just want to ask, what does it take one to be enrolled into your program?
I'm Ebenezer Quay from Metro TV. I want to find out how much grant are we injecting into this year's program and how many beneficiaries are going to get this. Yes, for this year.
Sorry, is it for Ghana or overall? Overall. And then he also wants to know how many beneficiaries. Okay.
My name is Francis Kokuchi, and I write for the University Wire News. I just want to find out from the rep from GTech how our universities can make research available to the media. I've just heard Professor Fosu talk about the number of papers they've produced, yet they don't get down to the media houses. In fact, I write on science and health for Nature and Gavi. University of Exeter, Sterling University, and a few universities in the UK. Every week, they send me research papers that have been produced. We don't have this in Ghana. How can our academics change from perish or be damned or something like that, and then open up their research to the media?
Victor Morrison, Kansas City. I just want to find out, after this 10 years, whether there's a scholarship package for media personnel, especially those who are here.
Okay. So I think the first two questions can be addressed by Dr. Sylvia in terms of what it takes to be enrolled into the ACE program, and then the details related to the grants and the number of beneficiaries. And then we can come to the center leaders for the third question related to how we can make research available to the media. Okay, GTech would answer that. And then the scholarship. Okay, all right. So we'll start off with Dr. Sylvia. What does it take to be enrolled into the ACE program?
As a center. Okay, let me just give you a short background how we were selected. There was a call nationally. Oh, sorry. You know, my height doesn't allow me to be sitting and getting up like that. All right, sorry. So, sometime, Eric, 2018, yeah, June, you remember the date. There was a call in the dailies for higher educational institutions in Ghana to apply for this, as I said, grant. So the explanation is this is a loan to the government of Ghana. It's a grant to the university. So we had to put up proposals with strict guidelines as to how to go about it. And then GTech, by then NCT, was the one overseeing the activities in Ghana. So the call closed. I think there were short listings, and then we were asked to come and then present before an assessment team what we want to do. And then from there, we were selected as the centers which will be supported. The various areas that at that point they looked at were the university governance systems, the budgets which we presented, the intervention areas, because they wanted intervention areas which would make a very great impact in the Ghanaian economy. And also, I think, looking at supporting institutions which don't actually have infrastructure in a particular area of research and education. So thereafter, when the selection was done, I think communication from GTEC, to which AAU was facilitating, was done through that system to the bank. So the World Bank now looked at what was done, and I think the final selection of these 9 centers took place. But before then, that was 2019, before then, we had these other centers which are now making us celebrate the 10 years, which started in 2014. And I think there were 4 centers which existed then, and I think the same criteria was in play. So it was in some other African countries, just like Ghana. I don't know whether I'm providing the information you really need. And for the funding levels, I think in Ghana we are receiving about each center about $6.4 million. So by 9 centers now. And then for the whole project, I think I don't really have that information but the senior program manager would have that other information. So this is how the whole process started. And as it was indicated earlier, it's not money that is handed over to you to implement and then report. It is like we have to build this room in our proposal. So you must construct the room. People from sometimes not within the country would come to verify as to whether it was constructed, meets the standard of what we want to do, and then it is said, okay, it is done. So you may pay for that cost of construction. You are recruiting or admitting 20 master's or PhD students. You have to bring the students, and then we give the statistics and say, okay, we want 10 Ghanaian students, and we are admitting 5 other students from other countries. You have to admit the students. They have to come to school. They have to travel a whole semester. And then you have to now report that these are the students that you have admitted. Then there is an institution somewhere which has to communicate directly with the students again to be sure that, yes, there are actually people you have admitted, and they are from these countries, and they are pursuing this program, and they are up to this level, before they can pay for each student who is there. It's a lot of work that goes on. And then you say you have maybe the university governance we're talking about. Like she said, sexual harassment document. Universities which didn't have, you say you are developing sexual harassment. So you cannot just take 2 people and go and sit somewhere and draft a document. You have to get a team which will draft it and which will go through the university systems up to the approval at the highest level. And you have to show evidence of all these processes with the documentation, and they have to verify as to whether really it was done that way. But interestingly, let me tell one thing. This is a project that, when they say project, sometimes they thought, we are not paid. We, the center leaders and all the people doing this work, we are not paid. We don't receive allowance for anything. You get it? It is a project that we think we have to all contribute to develop this nation. Sometimes when you say project, people, you think that we are collecting, especially World Bank. Then people will say you are collecting. No. It is one of the conditions that you are not to be paid salary and you are not receiving any monthly allowance. So this is how it is. And every year they audit, and if any center is seen to have paid a monthly allowance or salary, it is out. The only thing you can do is, if you are a university staff, if you are recruiting from outside to support in the implementation, let's say a communication officer, or for anything, laboratory staff, you can pay. So far as the person remains on Government of Ghana payroll, it's 0. So this is how it works. I hope I'm somehow clear. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think there was a question that the senior program manager would be responding to be followed by GTEC.
Thank you very much. So in terms of the project budget, the overall project budget for 10 years was 729 million US dollars. That's for the 10 years of implementation. When it comes to Ghana, the allocation for Ghana, the first phase, Ghana participated in 2 phases. So the first phase of 2014 to 2019, there was 24 million US dollars invested for about 3 centers. Then for the phase of 2019 to 2025, $56.8 million dollars invested for 9 centers. In total, 9 plus 3, that's 12. In total for, we would say 12 centers, it's close to 80.8 million US dollars for Ghana. So the total of 729 million, almost 729 million, is for 80 centers, Southern, Eastern, West, Central, and Djibouti, benefiting in the total of 729 million. So those are the figures for Ghana plus project-wide value. And then our attempt to respond to Mr. Kauti, Francis, but I think it's going to be combined effort, particularly for the efforts of publications getting to the media. Of course, we've put a lot of efforts in mobilizing the publications. We have AAU here, a repository that has been created to create the visibility of these publications. One of our core mandate here at AAU, we are a knowledge hub. So we are sharing this knowledge for the continent to everyone who comes to our platform to access this knowledge. So we have created a repository for all the publications that we were projecting here, maybe highlighting the figures so that you can access them there. And we've also made efforts to link this repository with our universities, the centers that are producing this knowledge. So when you click on maybe the article that you're interested in, it will take you to the center that has created that publication, that published maybe a paper. Then you have like all that linkage connecting all the centers and AAU here. But then also we have part of the effort with the project, we've also improved in terms of information management systems at universities, where we are actually working on providing the capacity for universities to share and store information. And at the same time, when they are being ranked, there are all those aspects of ranking that Times Higher Education will look for. And with that information management system, we hope the centers can also be visible. And I think it's effort that is also yielding. So that's part of the effort that we've made. But then we will have to strengthen more the linkage of these publications to media, so that you can, the automated responses that you are getting from other universities, you can also get from us once a paper is published. So with the database of media we have here, we should be able to automate and share all these good work that's coming from the centers. For scholarship packages for the media after ESA 10, we are still celebrating, consolidating the efforts that we have had. The ESA was funded in specific 6 thematic areas, which Professor Yowole highlighted at the beginning. So within that, you have STEM, health, agric, environment, and others. So part of some of those courses, of course, there are some transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary courses that have been created. So you could look at the database of the programs that we have and see which ones you can really fall within according to your field. But I think for now they were specific to certain thematic areas. So maybe if there are future interventions, we should be looking at maybe other thematic areas. But for now, I think they were only focused on those 6 that were highlighted by Prof. Oyoli. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Dr. London will add up briefly.
Okay, thank you. I think that Dr. Sylvia took the wind out of my sail, so I wouldn't belabor the point. What I just need to add is that, you know, for the media, you play a key role in the work that we do. And it's important that we have some kind of a conversation around how we can do proper dissemination of our research work in the various universities. Currently, we can't say that there's a proper mechanism in place that does this correspondence between the universities, our universities, and then the media houses. So I think it's something to look into, put together some comprehensive mechanism between the PR units of the various public universities, which are really well equipped and have some really good people, to find a way of disseminating research work that is done. And I think it's a very important point that you bring up. Aside that, like has already been indicated, a lot of the work by these centers is online. Actually, when you go online, you find so much of the work in very highly esteemed publications. And so all you need to do is to Google, and you'll get the information you're looking for. When you come to GTech, we also have the publications and documentations directorate. There's so much in there, a lot of material. We actually have a library of publications from the various tertiary institutions. So you just need to write to us and state whatever publication you are looking for, and we'll find a way to get it to you. So that shouldn't be an issue. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just to check if there are additional questions. I see one hand. So this will be the final round. If there are any additional questions. Okay, only 2 hands, and then that will be it.
Hi, my name is Winifred Latte. I'm one of Ghana's correspondents for AFP, and I'm also locally with Asase Radio. And my question is on gender inclusivity. What strategies have been implemented to promote gender inclusivity in the AIDS program? And also, as the AIDS program moves forward, what are some of the goals and priorities for the next decade?
Yeah, my name is Maxwell Aklobatu, and I'm with Joy News. Some data or some statistics were being mentioned. I want to know if you can access this data about the number of students trained and everything on your website.
Okay, I would say that those are readily available on the website. And just to mention that there's a press pack that we have put together, which would also be disseminated to each of us on a pen drive, so that as we go back to write our stories, if we want to refer to information on the project, we can easily access that. For the first question, I think I would like... Okay, so he will speak from the center level angle, and then Dr. Sylvia will come in at the overall project implementation level. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Sorry for, when the boss speaks, that ends the story. So the media engagement, sir, if I can just say something. I think he's busy. Yes, sir. The media engagement, I just remembered something. I said, the various institutions are also trying in one way or the other to expose what they do to the world. And I will tell you that for today and tomorrow at my university, GTV is broadcasting live today and tomorrow their breakfast show. And it's to engage the various stakeholders and what is happening in terms of research. So they are broadcasting from Tamale for the next 2 days on that. And it's also good for you to always make we those in the system in terms of higher education to know that you are into that, because we cannot actually be able to uncover that there is a reporter in this particular area that we need to also use to expose whatever we are doing. But aside that, for the various centers, all the centers have websites which have all these publications and information, students, everything that we do. Even the documentations which were produced are all available on the various websites of the 9 centers in Ghana. And we also use most of the social media handles to also broadcast what we do. So I think that this is how we are working. Aside that, the information is available to GTEC and also available to AAU. And I think AAU TV too has also been broadcasting a lot on these things that we do. For gender, I would, before she would provide a very fine information on that, I would like to say that in taking up the students, one of the strategy that was used was to actually pay us for more in terms of females who are admitted. So if you were paid $2,000 for a meal, positively, a female student was paid $2,500. Why? Because of what you said, to bring them up so that there will be equality. That is what you said. You get it. So that difference was there so that we would actually be forced to bring in more females to increase the female numbers in the various study programs. So that strategy worked. And I think that most of the centers, I don't think, maybe the list should be around maybe 30% that we can report that students at the master's or PhD level, we've been able to do that. And also to protect them, that in the system, the challenges of females in higher education. That is why all these policies for safeguarding their studies were also produced. And as you heard from the lady, it is good to have a very good safe space to operate. And to do this, all these documentations have to be. So gender equality is being promoted, looking at the various areas that we had to work to make sure that they are safe and protected in their study program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think Dr. Sylvia will add on.
So just to add to gender inclusivity, for the second phase, after we had implemented the first phase, the unique feature for the second phase was actually promoting female participation, because we had learned a lot from the first phase. So there was a total separate scholarship arrangement for the second phase for women, targeted just for women. Now for the third, for the subsequent phase, it's what also Prof has indicated. If you have to recruit a female, you get more incentives as a center. So they are also incentivized to look for females so that they can get more incentives from the project. As we said, it's a result-based framework approach that we use. Show results, we give you the funding. So it's been working very, very well. And also for the buildings that the centers are establishing, or maybe they have built, the classrooms, the hostels, the facilities. I'll give a specific example from Niger. When we went for visiting, it was really inspiring that the ground floor has been designated a special room for female with children, young babies, that they can come in like a nursery of some sort. So as they are doing their research in the laboratories, there's a nanny downstairs taking care of the baby. So some of the buildings have actually taken into consideration of that. And when it comes to accommodation, even the rooms, if you have a baby, some universities, they have facilities just for females with babies, females with partners. Because one of the drawbacks where we've seen females not coming to classes or maybe enrolling into a program because their husbands are like, you've deserted us. So you have an opportunity to visit your wife in your private room and your children, and then they can also go back. So there are those facilities that centers have established. So when it comes to the goals for the next decade, we have been consolidating through all the celebrations that Millicent outlined at center level, at country level. We've been consolidating. So as we go to Labadi, part of the things that we want to see, we are setting the goals for the next decade, where other partners will also make reference in terms of investments to say, okay, this is what has happened, and development partners, the stakeholders, the private sector converged and discussed, and this is what we see as the future. So on the agenda, there's a special session where we are looking at the future. So within that future, we'll be mapping out goals for the next decade. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a very insightful session, and there's a lot of content that has been shared with us. To help bring the curtain down would be Ms. Nodumo Dlamini, who is the Director of ICT Communications and Knowledge Management, and she will be providing the closing remarks for the session.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to thank everyone here who has attended this very important press briefing. I would also like to thank our very able facilitator, Dr. Felicia Nkrumah Khwabeji. I would like to thank Dr. Sylvia Mkandawire, Dr. Edmund Alang Dong, Prof. Ofosu, Prof. Abagale, Dr. Felix Ansa, and Miss Dumelo, Millicent Ej, who organized this press briefing, and to thank each and every guest who responded to our call. This press briefing is an example or demonstrate how seriously we take the role of the media in terms of highlighting the work of African higher education institutions. We do try to ensure that there's an up-to-date database for the media houses so that you can play your role in terms of disseminating what is happening in our higher education institutions. We recognize your role as supporting also policy advocacy to ensure that we have sufficient funds for the needs of the universities. We also believe that you would play a very key role in ensuring the stories from higher education institutions reach the global world. So we are not only looking at you playing your role nationally, but also beyond the borders of Ghana. We really see you understanding the issues that affect higher education so that you can transmit those messages as part of advocacy. And we look forward to more media practitioners who are experts in African higher education. We really would like to build a database of people who call themselves experts. They know higher education like the back of their hand, and they can speak, and they can profile, and they can follow up on what we are doing without us having to invite you. We expect you to look for this information and sell it. So I would like to thank each of us, and we look forward to seeing you at Labadi Beach Hotel from the 7th of April to the 9th of April 2025. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madame Nodumo. On that note, we want to bring the session to an end. Just to also say that between now and the meeting, the convening in Labadi, do feel free to engage us if you think there are opportunities for in-studio interviews, or if there are any specific sessions that you want to follow up with us on. This is our secretariat. I think we brought you here today, so feel free to walk in anytime to engage us on issues related to higher education in Africa and then in Ghana as well. GTech is just our next door neighbor, so feel free to engage us. We thank you once again for joining us today for this press briefing. As I mentioned, the pen drives will be made available to us so that we can have all the content that we would want to refer to. Thanks so much, and we look forward to seeing you in Labadi, where you would provide coverage for the main ASA 10 event. Please, next on the item, I see networking and refreshment. So
The most anticipated higher education event is here. Join us as we celebrate a decade of transformative impact on African higher education at the 10th anniversary of the Africa Higher Education Centers of Excellence program, a distinguished event jointly organized by the Association of African Universities, the Inter-University Council for East Africa, the World Bank, and the French Development Agency. ACE at 10 is scheduled for April 7 to 9, 2025 at the Labadi Beach Hotel in Accra, Ghana.
This high-level event will convene key academic and private sector stakeholders, including ministers of higher education, vice presidents and managers of the World Bank, development partners, vice chancellors, entrepreneurs, and innovators. During the celebration, you will
experience inspiring success stories, research breakthroughs, and innovative achievements from ACE centers.
Gain insight into how the ACE program has enhanced higher education, regional collaboration, and industry partnerships.
Join higher-level conversations on challenges, best practices, and future strategy.
Explore funding models, policy frameworks, and institutional reforms to sustain ACE achievement.
Network with influential leaders from government, academia, and the private sector to build transformative partnerships. The ACE community is encouraged to register now via the link on your screen.
Connect,
be inspired,
and let's make impact at the ACE at 10 celebration.